Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be building an Instagram clone using React Native. This video is mainly focused on UI design, so if you're having difficulties practicing with styling, this is the video for you. So get ready and get started. So this is the app we are going to build. This is the basic UI we're going to build. And we're going to go through all the steps step by step, from installing the Expo app up till styling every single screen. At the end, you're going to have a little exercise in order for you to practice and get better by yourself. So let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we will start by opening VS Code. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open a new terminal. And in the new terminal, you select the directory where you want to install your files or you want to create your project. I'm going to create it on the desktop, but you can go ahead and create it anywhere else. So I'll do cd desktop, then I do npx create Expo app. I'll call it Instagram clone. Or I'll just call it Instagram clone 2 because I have another Instagram clone on the desktop. I'm going to click on enter. An easier way to do it, if you don't know how to move to your desktop, you can do this by going to files. On Windows, it's going to be the same exact process. So if you're following me on Windows, don't worry, just do the same thing and it's going to work. So if you don't want to do cd desktop as I did here, you can just go to your file explorer, you go to open folder, you look for desktop and you click open. It's going to set the path of installation to your desktop. So all you need to do is do the next step, that is npx create Expo app. So now the next thing I'm going to do is what I can do here is I can do cd Instagram clone and you take me directly to the project, or I can still do file, open folder, I look for desktop, I go to Instagram clone 2 and I click open, and it's going to load all the files of the project. So the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to create our folders. I'll start by creating the source folder. I'll just give it a name src. And inside our folder, we are going to have different folders. So the first folder we have here is the screens folder. This is where all the screens of the app are going to lie. That is like the login screen, the home screen, the notification screen. Now the next folder we're going to have is the navigation folder. The navigation folder is going to have, obviously, navigation folder, not file. Let me delete this real quick. We'll create a new folder instead. So we have navigation. It's going to have all the files that have to do with navigation. That is mainly the bottom tabs. So next we are going to create our different screens. So first we're going to have the login screen. We'll have login.js, have the sign up screen, signup.js. We have the add screen. This is where the user is going to use to add new pictures. Have the welcome screen. What other screen? Let's say the profile screen, the search screen. And I think we can get started with this screen. So then the other screens, we are going to just add them as we go. So here in the navigation, we'll have the bottom tab screen. So we'll call it bottom tab.js. So now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to launch our app. If you see in the app.js, this is what is going to display in our app. So to launch your app, you go ahead, you type in npx expo start. You can either download the Expo Go app on your Android or your iOS phone and scan this QR code, or you can install a simulator if you have Xcode installed on your laptop, or if you have Windows, you can use Android Studio and create a new Android simulator. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do it directly using the iOS simulator. So I already have it installed, so all I have to do now is to press the I button. Now when you press the I button, as you can see here, you have opening on iOS. I'm going to expand this here a little bit more. So the app has loaded here, and we have officially created our Expo app or our mobile app. So now what we want to do is that we want the changes to appear in real time. So if I wipe everything here, you see that it has changed in real time. To simply do this, all you need to do is to go to your file here, you select autosave, so it's going to save it automatically and refresh the app automatically. So if we go ahead, we do this is, let's just say this is a text, and we can see it changes in real time. Let's do something else more fun. We just go here, we add a color of red. We see that it changes the text to red. So we are having our first app created. So now all we have to do now is to add all the other components in order to make it an Instagram clone. So the first thing we are going to do here is we are going to install the navigation, because in order to have a fully complete app, we need to have an app in which you can leave from one screen to another. So we'll have to install the necessary libraries for this. Go to the React navigation documentation. So just go ahead here, you type, or let's just open Google first to make it more professional. React native navigation. We go to the documentation. So read docs. So the first thing we need to do here is we have to install this. So I'm going to be using yarn to install the necessary folders or the necessary libraries, but you can still use npm, it's the same thing. So we install React navigation. So once it's finished installing, we can go ahead and install the next thing. Since we are using Expo, we install this, but if you're using a bare React native project, you install this instead. But this one doesn't really concern us, but this one does. So we are going to copy this. We come down here to our terminal and we click on install. The next thing we are going to do here is we are going to add this code to our app.js. So we can copy it here and paste it. So we are having our app set up, but the navigation is not yet set up completely here. We need to add a stack navigator. This stack navigator is going to help us add all our screens. So we come here, we go to the next part of the documentation. This is it. So we have to install this. So we add a yarn art stack, React native stack navigation, come to our terminal. So as we can see in the documentation here, we have to add the stack screens. So this here, we're just going to have to do it manually. So we're going to go into our, let us start with the welcome screen. So we'll add the boilerplate code here, RNES. This is going to create the initial code for our welcome screen. If your editor doesn't do this, it's very easy. All you need to do is to install a VS Code extension that is going to help you do this. So in order to do that, you come to the extensions tab here. You look for ES7 or React Redux. So we'll just type in ES7 here. Once it comes up, you click on it and you click on install. I already have it installed, so I don't need to install it one more time. So since we already have the boilerplate code here, we're already exporting the welcome. So now we can import it in our app.js. So in order to have it here, we're going to create a new stack. We'll come up here, we'll have const stack equals to create stack navigator. And then we can just import it by pressing Control space. We have create native stack navigator, not create stack navigator. So now all we have to do here is we'll do stack.navigator. Then we have stack.screen. And this is where all our screens are going to go. So I'm going to use the auto completion feature. Let me just go ahead and turn this off so it can be easier for you to follow. Okay, now we have added our welcome screen. So all we need to do now is to reload the app, because when you install new libraries, sometimes it goes out of sync. So you see now we have our welcome screen here. So now let's just go ahead. We add the boilerplate code for the different screens. We go to the login, do the same thing, RFNES, search, RFNES, sign in, RFNES, and add RFNES. So we have to add this to our app.js so we can have all this ready for navigation. So let's just copy this and paste it, then we modify the name and the component. So we paste all this. Don't worry about the error, it's pretty normal. We're going to have the login here. VS Code is going to suggest the different parts to the screen, so this is very helpful. So we give it the name here, login. Take note that every name here has to be unique, because during your navigation you're going to use these names to reference the screens you want to navigate to. So every name has to be a unique name. So here we're going to have sign up. I'll just give the screen names to the names of the stacks. So here we're going to have profile. We can start now adding everything into our welcome screen. So this is actually where the fun part begins. So the first thing we are going to do here is we are going to define the style. So here we're going to have style equals styles dot container. Oops, no, it's one brace, not two braces. Let's remove this here. Two braces is when you want to have inline styling. So we go here to our style, we add the container. And then for the container, we're just going to have flex1. It's a comma instead. Then we have here justify content, center. Then we have here align items, center. Then we have here background color. We give it a background color of white. FFF is a hexadecimal of the color white. So we want to remove this welcome screen here, or this welcome title here. So we are going to come to our options here. We'll have options. Then we have header shown to false. So it's going to remove the welcome title so we can have a clean background that we can start styling. So the first thing we are going to do in our welcome screen here is we are going to have the title. We are trying to build an Instagram clone, so we have it called here Instagram. Make sure you import the text, if not you're going to have some errors. Now let's go into our style sheet. We create this title. We give it a font size of 36. Let's give it 36. We give it a font weight of bold. Then we give it the margin bottom of 40. Let's have it 40 here. Yep. You see, we already have a very cool looking Instagram title, but that's just the beginning. Let's keep going. This is going to be a lot of fun. Now let's define the view. A view here, if you have done web development before or any HTML, a view here is a little bit like a div. So it's basically just a container. So we are going to have a view here that is going to contain the profile image and the username. So we'll have the image tag here. Select this one with the React Native here so we can import it directly. So we'll have the image. We're going to define the style. Style equals to styles dot profile image. Then the source is where you're going to have the image URI. Full meaning of URI is the full meaning of URI is Uniform Resource Identifier. So let's just close this image here to get rid of the error. And then for the image, you can go ahead and add whatever you like or whatever image link you like. I'm just going to add an image of myself. because why not? So now the image is not showing because we haven't defined the width and the height. So we are going to do this right now in the style. So we'll have the profile image here. Now inside the profile image, we'll have the width. We'll give it a width of 100. We'll give it a height of 100 too. As you can see, the image already comes up, it's showing quite well. We'll give it a border radius of 50 to make it round, and we give it a margin bottom of 10. Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to define the style for the profile container. So we have the style here, styles dot profile container. It's always good to have styles for every component so that at any time you can always modify it and put it in a different position or give it different properties. So all of our containers, or most of our containers, are going to have styles. So we're going to have the profile container here. The first thing we're going to give it here is we're going to have align items center. Then we're going to have, don't forget to add your comma, margin bottom. Let's give it a margin bottom of 20. Yeah, so it's already looking like a good Instagram app. Anyways, let's keep going. So we're going to have here text. This text is going to be, so we're going to have here text. This text is going to be the username. We'll give it Etio_Bradley. This is my Instagram username, so you can always go and follow me. So now we're going to have the style as usual. We'll have here styles.username. Let's go down, we define the style. Let's make it a little bit bigger. We'll give it a font size of 18. Give it a font weight of bold. Yeah, looks good. The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to add a login button. So to do this, we'll have the touchable opacity component. And then inside the touchable opacity components, we'll have the text. Then we give it a name of login. Let's add a space here. And then now we're going to define the style. Let's give it a style. We'll call it styles.login button. Just a quick disclaimer, these names are totally subjective, so you put any name you want here. These are the names I've decided to put in order to make it make sense. So here we're going to have on press. So this is basically an event that is going to trigger anytime you're going to click on the button. So we are going to have it here, navigation dot navigate to log in. Now this login here, this login here basically is why we were putting the names here. So navigation.navigate basically is a function that tells the app to go to a new screen. So if you remark, we haven't created any method called navigation, but all we have to do is we have to pass it as a prop here, because since we installed the navigation library, it already has all of these set. So all you need to do is to pass this navigation prop here, and it's going to get recognized here. So anytime you click on the button, it will take you to the login screen. So let's just have a quick test. We click on the login screen. You see it takes us to the login screen we created. So now we have to style the login button. We have already defined the style here. We have styles.login button. So let's go and define the login button here. So we have login button. Do not forget to add your column. That's a beginner's mistake. So we're going to have width 300. Make it a little bit big. we're going to have height 50. As you can see, nothing really changes here apart of the position. So what is happening is that it's modifying the space that is between the ATO Bradley and the bottom, because that's the space occupied by the touchable opacity. This text you're seeing here is the text component. So when we add a background color, you see exactly what I mean. So let's go ahead here. We add a background color. We give it a background color of, it's going to be something bluish, so the color code is going to be 099FF. As you can see, this is the exact space the touchable opacity is occupying. So now let's go ahead. We add justify content center to put everything into the center. Align item center. This is going to put everything in the middle. And we'll have a border radius of 5 to make it a little bit rounded. Then we have a margin bottom of 20. No, let's say 20. Yup. We're already having a button that looks quite good. Now let us give a style to our text. We'll give it a style. We'll call it login text. Then we can go down now. We add in the login text here. We give it a color of white. Oops, don't forget to add your commas. Yup. We make it a little bit bigger for it to look better. Give it a font size of 18. And finally, we make it bold. Yup. We're having a very clean and good looking Instagram login screen, but it's not finished yet. We have to add the don't have an account, switch your account, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. So let's add a touchable opacity here, and inside here we're going to have a text saying switch account. So let's have switch account here. Here we're going to have the styles.switch account. Well, let's say style.switch buttons. I'm just going to go to the text here and add a style here too. So we have styles.switch text. Switch text. And then I'll put this in small letters. Okay. So now let's go ahead and define the styles for these. We have switch button here, and we have switch text. Now in the switch button, we are just going to give it a margin bottom of 40, and in the switch text, we are going to give it a font size of 16. We give it a color. We're going to give it the same blue color as we gave it as we gave the button up. So 009FF. So now the final thing we're going to have is the don't have an account sign up. I think most welcome and login screens have that, so Instagram has that too, and we're just doing an Instagram clone. So let's do it. So we're going to add don't have an account here, and here we're going to have a text saying sign up. Instead of a touchable opacity here, we're going to have a view, because we shouldn't be able to click on the don't have an account. Then we want to click only on the sign up, so we have a touchable opacity here. Then we have a text, text with small t, text. Then we're going to have sign up. So now we want to define the view or the style of our view. Let's have it styles equals to, we'll give it sign up container. Let's just put it in capital letter. All this is just a naming convention to make it look more organized. So we're going to have a style here. Now we're going to have the style here for the text. Give it styles dot sign up text, and yeah, now we can style everything, and we're done with our welcome screen. So the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to have the sign up container. We're going to give it a flex direction of row. If you don't know why we're doing this, you're going to see in a minute. So the flex direction of row helps everything get aligned horizontally, because normally everything is being stacked vertically, but with the flex direction row, everything gets stacked horizontally. This is very helpful when you want to change the layout in that order. So now we're going to have the style, or the style for the text. So we defined it as sign up text. So let's give it a color of the same color, blue, 0099F, and there you have it. So this is our simple welcome screen for Instagram. The final thing we're going to do here is we're going to give on press here, we're going to trigger this event so it can take us to the sign up screen. As we said earlier, we have the navigate. We have to give it the same exact name we gave it in our app.js. So we just copy this here and we paste it so that we can click on it and it takes us here. Cool, right? That is very cool. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to define our login screen. As you can see, it takes us to a very ugly login screen. We want to have a very better login screen. So now let's go to our login screen. We start styling everything. So the first thing we are going to do here is we're going to define our container. So styles.container. Then next here we're going to have touchable opacity. We're going to give it here ion icons, name equals to, we want to define the arrow, size equals 24. So I'm going to tell you what the ion icon is in a minute. So let us go ahead and define it, and let me show you what happens. So as you can see, there is an error. Ion icon doesn't exist because we have to install the libraries for icons. So we are going to do this real quick. We'll have here npx expo install at expo vector icons. We wait for it to install, and then it has installed. So now all we need to do here is to import it by pressing Ctrl space, and there you have it installed. So if we go to the login, we'll see this is what we just installed right now. So it's a back button because it's going to replace the title we have here. So now let's go ahead, we go to our app.js, we just copy these options here, we paste it. Let's even just go ahead and paste it everywhere because we do not want the title. Paste it here, paste. And yeah, so now what we're going to do is that we are going to replace the login screen here with the welcome. This is because anytime the app is going to refresh, it's going to go back to our welcome screen, but we are going to be working on the login screen. So this is something you should keep in mind when developing React Native or Expo apps. This is something very helpful I do all the time. When we are done with the login screen, we are going to replace it now in the correct order so that the welcome screen can always show before the login screen. So let's go ahead and reload the app with the R button, and we can see now we are having the login screen here. So if we come here now, we have the container here. Let's go ahead, we define the container. Let's give it a flex of 1. Now we give it a padding of 20. Then we give it justify content, center. Then we give it a background color of white. Now we can see everything is in the center, so everything we're going to build from now henceforth is going to build on top of this. So this button right here is going to end up here. So now let us start styling everything. Let's give it a touchable opacity, style. Here, styles dot back button. Let's go ahead and define more things now before styling it. So we're going to have here text. We're going to have here Instagram. Then here we're going to have a text input. Let's give it a style. Give it styles.input. We'll give a style to the text too here, styles.title. Title. Then let's copy this. Nope, let's first of all add a placeholder. We give my username _Bradley. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you see this username. So now text input, we have style equals, we give it the same style as the previous input. So we have styles.input, we give it a placeholder of password, and we add a property secure text entry, so you can have an unseeable password, as I can say. I don't know if that's the correct word, but yeah, basically those passwords with which looks protected with the star sign. So now we can have a touchable opacity here. Oops, not text opacity, touchable opacity. Then we have a text here. We have a text here which is going to say forgot password. We have the style here, styles.forgot password. And let's just copy it here. Let's paste it here to the touchable opacity. And here is going to be the text. So let's just say styles.forgot password text. Now finally here, we're going to have our login button. We'll give it a text here. Oops. We'll give it a text. We'll give it a text here. We'll call it login. Let's have a style here in a touchable opacity, styles.login button, and here we'll have styles.login text. So here now we're going to have on press. It's going to take us to our home screen. We'll have navigation.navigate. First of all, let's pass in our prop here so we can have no errors. We'll have the navigation prop here, so we can have navigation here dot navigate. Who are we navigating to? We're navigating to home. Before continuing, let us go ahead and style everything here. Starting off with the back button. So let's just copy this here. We come down here, we paste it. So let's add in our style. We give it a position of absolute. We give it a top of 40, so it can always be at the top. And we give it a left of 20, so it can come a little bit inside our screen. So we can see here, we can always click on it. We can always click on it here. So now we're going to have to style the title. As we did in the previous screen, we want the title to be bigger and bold. So let's give it a font size of 36. We give it a font weight of bold. We want to add a comma here, not a full stop. We give it a margin bottom of 20. And finally here, align self, center. So we can see how we have back our beautiful Instagram title. Let's go ahead, we style now the input. The input is basically this here. We're going to have the same input for both of these things here. So we have the input here. Let's give it input. Give it a height of 40. A border color of gray. It already looks way better. We'll give it a border width of 1. As you can see, the border color wasn't showing without the border width, so always keep that in mind. Anytime you define a border color, you need to have a border width for it to display. So now we're gonna have a border radius of 5. We'll have a padding horizontal. Padding horizontal of 10. Margin bottom of 10 also. And yeah, so now we can go to the next style. We have forgot password. Give it an align self of flex N. So it can always be at this other side of the screen. We have a forgot password. Oops. What is the next style? Let's see real quick. We have forgot password text. Yup, here. We can copy it. We give it a color. We still give it the same blue color we gave to the other buttons before. So we have it blue. Now we can style our login button. Let's come here, login button. We give it a height of 50. Oops, not 50M, 50. We give it a background color of blue. 0099FF. We justify the content to center. Aligned items to center. Give it a border radius of 5. And finally, margin vertical of 20. Give it a little bit of space here. So now the next thing is the login text. Let's make the text wide and bold as we did in the previous screen. So we have font size 18. Font weight. What is font weight? Let's give it bold. And the color white. So this already looks good so far. It already looks good. If we go behind, we see it doesn't take us anywhere. We are going to fix that in a minute. So now let us go ahead, we add different things on the screen before we add some more functionality. So we are going to have the login with Facebook notice, but first let us add a touchable opacity. Inside our touchable opacity, we're going to have an icon. Ion icons, we give it a name. The name is going to be logo Facebook. Size, we're going to have a size of 24. Color, we're going to have a bluish color, so it's going to be 1877 FF2, and then we close everything to get rid of the errors. So we have a very nice Facebook color. Oh, it was black, not blue. Okay, we have a very nice Facebook color here. It's supposed to be blue. Yup. Okay, now let's have text here. We have login with Facebook. Now we define our styles. We come here, we give it a style, give it styles.facebook, styles.facebook button. Let's copy this here and paste it. We have Facebook text. What else? So we add a new container here, we add a new view. We're going to have another view here. This view is just going to be a line. So here we have a text. We put or, then we give another view, which is going to be another line. But first let us add our style. So let's give it here styles.all container. Then for the line, we'll give it a style of line. Then the text here is going to be styles.or text. And finally, we'll have another line. So let's just copy this here and paste it. Then we're going to have here view. We'll give it a text. Don't have an account. If you don't have an account, what should you do? Obviously, you need to sign up. So we're going to have touchable opacity here. I give it a text. Sign up. We come here, we add our styles. I give it a style of styles.signup container. Here we give it a style here. Let's say styles dot don't have, just in the name of giving. Now here we're not gonna give it a style. We're gonna give a style to the text. We're going to be styles dot sign up text. And yeah, the final style we're going to have here is the text, which is going to say Instagram or Facebook. The style here is going to be styles.footer. So we'll go ahead, we style these ones one by one, starting with the or container. So we add our or container here. We're going to give it a flex direction of row, align items to center. Oops, this is supposed to be column. Align items to center. And we have margin bottom here of 20. So it's supposed to, the all container here is supposed to have the lines here. Oh, we haven't added the lines yet. So let's give it line. Let's give it a line here. We'll give it flex 1. So it can occupy the full width of the screen. We'll give it a height of 1. And background color, we give it gray. As we can see, we have a beautiful line here. There's something we haven't done yet. Login with Facebook has to be on the same horizontal line. So let's come here, login with Facebook. Oh, we haven't added the Facebook button. So we come here, we add the styles for Facebook button. Let's do it before the all container. So let's add a comma here to get rid of the error. So we want to have a flex direction of row. Then we're going to have align items center. Then we'll have justify content center. Margin bottom 20. The next thing we're going to have is the Facebook text. Let's come up here. Let's look for the Facebook text. Okay, it's Facebook button text. Add your comma. Don't forget to add your comma. We'll give it a color of blue, similar to the Facebook button. And then we're going to give it a font size of 16. Yep. Now finally we have to style the last things here, that is all of the things here. So starting with the sign up container. Sign up container. Let's just copy everything here. We also have our R text here. Where's the R text? Okay, we have the R text here that we still have to style. What else? We have the don't have, sign up text, and the footer. Add the comma, sign up text. And finally, we have footer. Now we're going to style these ones real quick, 1 by 1. So let's have width 40, text align center, margin bottom 20. The next thing we're going to have is the Facebook text. Let's come up here, login with Facebook. Oh, we haven't added the Facebook button. So let's give it a color of blue, similar to the Facebook button. So we're going to style these ones real quick, 1 by 1. So let's have width 40, text align center, sign up container. We have flex direction row, justify content center, margin bottom. The margin bottom is going to be 10. Don't have, let's just give it a font size of 12. No, let's give it something bigger, like 14. Yep. Sign up text, we'll give it a color. Let's give it a color of blue. And finally, the footer, we'll give it a color of gray. And then text align center. Now we're going to style these ones real quick, 1 by 1. So let's have width 40, text align, center, sign up container, we have flex direction, row, justify content, center, margin bottom. The margin bottom is going to be 10. Don't have, let's just give it a font size of 12. No, let's give it something bigger, like 14. Yep. Sign up text, we'll give it a color. Let's give it a color of blue. And finally, the footer, we'll give it a color of gray. And then text align, center. Now we have our beautiful login screen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just test out the navigation, put a welcome screen before. So we have login, it takes us to Instagram, but this back button doesn't work, so we want to make it to work. So that is very easy. We go to the login button or the login screen. We add in on press here. All we need to do is we'll do navigation here, dot navigate, and then we're going to call back, oops, sorry, not navigation dot navigate, we'll have navigation dot go back. So when we click on the button, it's going to take us back. So this is our cool Instagram login screen. So when you click on login here, it has to take you to the home, but they say home doesn't exist. So we've probably put the wrong name. Yeah, we haven't added the home screen, the most important screen. So we have to add the home screen, create a new file, sorry, home.js, go into the home screen, ifnes, then go to the app.js. We can copy this, paste it, add home, then copy this here and paste it here. So we have login and it takes us to the home. So now let us start with our home. Let's start styling everything. Okay, now we are going to head over to the home screen and we start creating our home screen. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to have some dummy data. Since this tutorial is mainly focused on UI, we are not going to have anything connected to a backend, so we still need to have some dummy data in order to represent our post. So this is going to be in the link in the description. I'm going to link this data, but you can still create yours. So I'll just copy my data and paste here. So this is the data. We have the ID, the user, the image, the likes, the caption. And yeah, we have it for 3 users. The caption is going to be similar, but you can add yours for it to look better. So the first thing we are going to have here, let's start back. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to have a function, which is going to be a function to render all the posts. So here we have here const render post equals, we add navigation here. We give it a navigation prop. Then we're going to have here, we'll give it a view. As I said earlier, we are going to have to set our home screen as the first screen in order not to always be going to the welcome screen and having to click on login and login before reaching our home screen. So let's go to the home, Control X here, then we paste it here. So it can always be the first screen. Let's press R here to refresh. And we have our home screen. Now we can work on our home screen. We give it a style here. We have style equals to styles.post. The posts are going to have images. So let's add a view here. This view is going to be for the post header. So we have style here, style. We're going to have style.post header. Then we're gonna have an image. This is gonna be for the profile picture. We'll give it a source. We have URI. I'm just going to add my profile picture as the URI or the image. We're going to give it here URI, and we add the style. The style is going to be styles.userAvatar. We close this here. Now we have text. We're going to have here item.user. We're going to have here item.user. You're going to see why we are adding this item here in a minute. So now let's have ion icons here. We add an icon. We have name equals ellipse vertical. Size here equals 40. Nope, let's give it size of 24. Color equals to black. We want to define the post, the like button and all that, and the caption and all that. So let's do it down here. So basically now we're going to first of all define all our components before defining the style, so you can just be more chronological and easier to follow. So here let's have a view. So here let's have an image. Give it a source. URI here. It's going to be item.image. So basically this item is going to be a reference to our data here. This is going to happen when we are going to pass this our component inside our list component, which is called a flat list. So you're going to see that in a minute, but keep following up to see where we're going. So here we're going to have styles.post image. Here we have a new view. Let's give it a style. Give it a style of post footer. We have another view here. We give it a style. Let's say styles.interaction icons. This is going to have the icons for our like, our comments, share, and all that kind of stuff. So ion icons, we have name here, heart outline, heart outline. We have size equals to 24. We have color equals black. Style here equals to styles.icon spacing. And yeah, we can copy this 3 times. Let's go ahead and copy once and copy it the 3rd time. So now here we're just going to change this here to chat bubble. Don't worry if you don't see it on the screen. When we will link it to our flat list, you'll see all what we are doing right now. So here, let's give it a name of paper, plain outline. We'll remove this style of spacing here. And then now here, we're going to give it a text. You know, in Instagram, when you like a picture, you can see the people who liked it, or just a glimpse of people who liked it. We'll have liked by Craig_love. This is just a random username. and the number of likes, we'll have items.like. This is going to be taken from our data, and this data represents basically the post, so this is going to be a reference to this. So we have items.like, and here we're going to have others, and finally here we'll have the text, which is going to be item.user / item.caption. So this is our component here, which is going to be basically representing a post, and then we're going to add it to the flat list. All the data in this flat list here is going to be having this component, which is going to render the data one by one, which is going to give it the list effects you can see on Instagram. Now head over to the main component. This main component is where the list or the posts are going to be displayed. So let's come here, we set a safe area view. Safe area view from React Native, not safe context. So we have React Native here. The first thing we'll have here is we're going to have a view. We'll give it a text of Instagram. We give it a style. Let's just copy this and paste. The style of header title. What else? Let's add another container. Give it a view here. Give it a style here of styles.icons top, a touchable opacity. And inside here we're gonna have ion icons, style, right 10, and here name, we'll have hard outline. Here size, we'll have 28, and here color, we'll have black. This is just this here, black. So now here we can have another icon. Here we have ant design. We'll give it name here, equals to message 1, size equals to 24, color equals to black. We're going to have a second view, because this first view is basically just the title, and you know, if you open your Instagram app, you see there is the Instagram icon. You see there's the Instagram icon here, there's the notification button here, and the messages button. So this is basically what we're going to do. You will see everything shaping up when we're going to start adding the styling. You make everything really look way better, and everything is going to make sense. So here, let's add a style. This is going to be for the stories. We'll have stories container. Here we're going to have a flat list. This flat list is going to contain all our posts. So we're going to have here style flat list horizontal, data here, data render item. So basically this data here is the data we got here from our array of objects. So we're going to pass in the data here, and now this render post here is going to be inside our flat list, and it's going to get this data, and then now use the data now to render everything we set here, that is the user, the caption, the likes, and so on. So now we can have render post here. We have key extractor, item.id, So the key here has to be unique. That's why all the IDs here are unique, 1, 2, 3. So they are relatively unique, but in a real app, the keys are going to be more complex than that. You cannot have a key as an individual number. That's not going to be sustainable. So here we're going to have a style. We'll give equals to styles.postList. Let's just go and close this. So this is not for the stories, this is for the post. So let's just copy this, we put here. Now for the stories, we're going to have another flat list. So let's copy it here and paste it. They say image doesn't exist. So image doesn't exist. So let's go ahead. We import images here. Image. So now it should exist. Item doesn't exist. We are going to solve the item problem in a minute. Okay, they say a new error item does exist. Oh, obviously we haven't passed the item prop here. So we have to pass item prop here and instead pass the navigation prop here in the home button or the home component. Now for the render item here in the item, we're going to have the item as a prop. We'll have an image. Then we're going to have a source. Then inside the source, we'll have another braces. Then here we're going to have the link to our image. As always, I'm going to add a link to my personal image. Here we'll have the style. Image here, source. Okay, so we have the style here. Style equals to styles.story. Going to have the container. The container that we haven't set. Let's go to our save area. We add it as a container. We have styles.container here. The container here, we're going to give it a flex of 1. Then we have a background color of white. Then the next thing we're going to have here is what? We're going to have the header. We have flex direction here of row. We justify content here as space between. Align items. Center. We give it a padding of 10. Then the next thing we're going to have here is the header title. So basically the Instagram text, it looks a little bit too small, so we want to make it bigger and bold. So we have a font size of 24. Then we have a font weight of bold. Yep. The next thing we're going to have here, so we have flex direction, row, align items, align item center, margin bottom 10. And yeah, it looks so much better. So you can click on the buttons here. We can't click on this one, so let's see what's wrong. Or we have to insert it in a touchable opacity. Oops. So we add a touchable opacity here. Just cut it here and paste it. So now we can click on both buttons. We're going to style the stories container. So let's come to the stories container here. Flex direction of row and a padding of 20. Oops, padding of 10. So now for the story themselves, this is where it's going to get interesting. We'll have here story. We're going to give it a width of 60, a height of 60 also, a border radius of 30. Normally we're supposed to see the image is showing. Why is the image is not showing here? Let's see why. We have the stories container. So the images weren't showing because instead of having brackets, we're having curly braces in the render item method within the flat list. So go ahead and replace that with the brackets and it's going to work. So the next thing we're going to do now is to start styling our posts. So let's start with the post list. So we're going to have here flex 1. Then the next thing here is the post. We'll have here margin bottom 20. Then let's see what's the next here. Post header. So we have post header here. So we give it a flex direction of row. Okay, now as we can see, our render post component is not showing. And this is because of a very simple reason, and this reason can actually take you hours to fix because it took me hours to fix. So it's just because in the render component, instead of opening it with the brackets, I'm opening it with the braces. So this is not going to work inside the flat list component. So you replace this with brackets instead. And there you have everything working. So as you can see, everything is showing, but there's a lot of question marks. That just shows that we haven't written the correct names here. Okay, so we see the problem is here. So we're gonna have outline instead of outline or outline anyways. So let's remove the outline here and replace it with outline. So here, ellipse vertical is not a valid icon name. So the correct name here is ellipses, not ellipse. Okay, so we have ellipses. Okay, so now everything works cool, so we can go ahead and style our post. So now the next thing we're going to do here, we have the styling of the post here. We have the post header. So now let's set justify content center. Here, align items center. Let's give it a padding here of 10. Now we're going to target the user avatar. We're going to give it a width of 40, a height of 42, and a border radius. Let's give it a border radius of 20 for it to be rounded. The next thing we're going to have image. We have the post image here. Let's give it a width of 100% so you can take up the full screen. And let's give it a height of 300. Yeah, now we already have an app looking so much like Instagram. We'll have here now interactions icons. We're gonna have margin right, 10. We'll have flex direction to row. Then we're gonna have align items to center. The next thing we're going to have here is the icon spacing. Let's add a little bit of space between those icons. We're gonna have margin right to 10. And finally, icon top. We're gonna have icon stop. We have here flex direction, row, align items, center, and margin bottom 10. So now what doesn't look good? This doesn't look good. The stories doesn't look good. So we have to adjust that. Let's see. Let's go to our header. So this is the post header. The post header doesn't look good. And the story also doesn't look good. Let's first of all adjust the story. We have margin horizontal here, 5. We have border color, gray. And we have the border width, 2. So the post looks way better here. File content to center here. All we have to do here is to change it to space between. Now we can see everything is aligned perfectly. Now we want this right here to be a little bit away from the screen. If we go here, we see that we have a style here that we haven't targeted. Let's look for it. That is, I think it's the post bottom or the post footer. Okay, this right here, we haven't targeted this. So let us add a post footer. We're going to have post footer here. And we just give it a padding, and we say padding of 10. And there you go. Yep, it looks way better. Now we want to add the bottom tabs. So this part is going to be a little bit longer because there are going to be some very tricky stuff that we're going to have to do. So the first thing we're going to do for the bottom tabs is that we're going to install a new library. So the library is going to be still in the React Native navigation. We have yarn art React navigation / bottom tabs. We click enter. While this is installing, I'll just add my boilerplate code here, -es. To define the bottom tabs, we'll have here const tab equals create bottom tab navigator. So now here we are going to, instead of having the view, we're going to have tab dot navigator, and then here we're going to have tab dot screen, and then give it the name of home. Our home screen is going to be here. Component. The component here is going to be home. We'll close it. Yeah, let's just go ahead now and add it into our bottom tabs. So here now, instead of having home, we are going to have the bottom tab. So we're going to have the bottom tab here. And in the bottom tab, let's give it the name of feed instead. Let's give it the name here, feed. What is the error saying? Element type is invalid except a string for built-in component for composite. Forgot to export your component. That's not it. Error here was due to the fact that we set create bottom tab navigator without actually putting the bracket. So React did not know if it was actually a React did not know if it was actually a variable or a function. So just putting the tab here. So we just put the tab and reload the app. The thing we are going to do now is to modify the bottom tab. We have to add in all the screens to the tab below. So we are going to do it right now. What we're going to do here is that we're going to create a new component. We'll call it my tab bar. So let's start by declaring a function. Let's call it my tab bar. And then we're going to just add the braces here. And then inside the bracket here, we're going to have some props. We'll pass in state, descriptors, navigation, and yeah, so now we can have the return statement here. And inside the view here, we're going to have the style. Let's give it a style here. Give it a style. Give it a style. Styles dot tab container. Inside this view, we're going to add the map function. Basically, a map function is a function that helps browse through elements in an array. So we are going to target the state dot route dot map. Then we're going to open the bracket. Nope, let's not open the bracket here. We're going to have here route index. Then inside here, we're going to have an arrow function. Then here we're going to have constants here. Then options equals descriptors route.key. Then here const is focused. Is focused here is going to help us know which tab we are currently on. So depending on the tab we are currently on, we are going to display a particular icon, because we want to have this effect of if we're on a particular screen, the icon should be dark, and if we're on a different screen, the icon should be the outlined version of the icon. So here now we're gonna have const here on press equals, let's have an arrow function. Here have const event equals navigation dot emit. Here we'll have type. Here we're gonna have tab press. Here we're having an error. We have to have a second brace here, and this has to be out. So we're having this, we have this, and then we have to have this. We have to have it here. Okay, so we've gotten rid of the error. Now we have here target. Target here is going to be route.key. Here we have can prevent default. Set it here to true. And then here, if we'll have an if statement here saying if is focused and and if event dot default prevented. Now we can have navigation dot navigate name route dot name merge true. So now here we're going to have our condition. So here for this one, I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to copy the code here and paste. All you have to do is just to pause the video here. So here we're going to have let icon name. This is going to be for the different icons in our tab or in our bottom tab. So we define the icon name, Then we have the first if statement, if route.name equals feed. We're going to set the icon name equals is focus. So this is basically conditional statement. This is basically if is focus equals to true, set it to be name. This is basically if is focus equals true, set it to be home, else set it to be home outline. So we are going to see basically the effect of this very soon. So let me just copy it and paste all of this here. We have all the else ifs. Now at the end we want to return this. So basically if this equals true, display this, if this equals false, display this, and so on. And finally it's going to render the tab down here. We are going to set everything to render in the tab here. So we're going to have image. Let's import our image, React Native. We'll have source here. As always, I'm going to add my image as the source image. So I'm just going to paste it here. Then we'll have the style here. Styles dot profile icon. Finally, we have to close all these brackets. So we're gonna have here, we close the else statement here, and then the final condition, and then finally we're going to return the icons. So we have touchable opacity. So basically here, else if is if the route name equals profile, because we want to have the profile image here like on the Instagram app. So now we're going to render an image instead of an icon if we're on the route called profile. So now we can define now the icons for all the other ones. So we have now ion icons here, name equals icon name, size equals 24, color equals is focused. If it's focused, let's give it a color of black. Else, let's give it I think it's a grayish color. Okay, so let's close it to get rid of the error. And then let's add some properties to our touchable opacity. We give it a key of index, on press, we pass the on press prop here, and finally we give it a style. And finally we give it a style. The style here is gonna be the tab button. So let's see, we have no errors here. That is a good sign. Now finally what we want to do is that we want to add our different tabs here to the tab screen, because right now we only have the feed here and we need more tabs here. So we're going to add the search. Let's just copy and paste this. We have to add the search tab. Search, copy and paste. We want to add the reel screen. We have not created a reel screen, so let's do it right now. We have here reels.js, rfnes. Let's go to the bottom tab, we import the reels. Control C here, Control V. We also want to import the profile. Oops. Import the profile here too. And in order to get rid of any redundancy, let's go into our app.js and delete what is not needed in the app.js. So basically, We don't need the navigation, which is already defined in the bottom tab here. So we're going to remove the search. We'll remove search. We'll remove add profile. What else? Yup. So all we need here is a sign up, login, welcome, and bottom tab, because bottom tab is this here. So if I click here, I'm on the search. If I click here, I'm on the reels, I'm on the profile. So here is the home. So as you can see in the navigation, everything is defined here. So here I'm going to add the final screen, which is going to be the ad. Okay. So everything is set. Now we can add the final styles here. But first we have to check why our icons are not loading yet. And it's because of a very simple reason. We have not used the my tab bar inside here. So in order to do that, we are going to pass it as a prop here. So let's go inside here. We have tab bar. We have tab bar here. We have props. Oops, let me move the capital letter. It looks ugly. We have props here. Arrow function. We can now call the tab bar. Let's call the my tab bar here, and we're passing the props. And let's see. Yeah, so as we can see, everything looks very ugly here. So what we need to do now is to style everything and have a beautiful tab bar. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to target this tab bar here. We come down here to the style shade. We give it a flex direction of row, a background color of white, a border top width of 0.5, a border top color of light gray, then let's make everything a little bit further from the bottom. So we give it a padding bottom of 30, an overall padding of 5. And yeah, now the next thing we're going to have to style is let's see. We have the tab button. Okay, we have the tab button. We'll give it flex 1 so you can occupy the full screen. Align items, center, justify content, flex N so the home can start at the beginning. What else? Give it a padding of 5. And then next we're going to have to style the profile icon. Okay, let's have the profile icon. We'll give it a width of 24, height same, border radius 12. And yeah, now it looks good. Now the final thing we have to do here, is to make all of this look better. So we are going to come to our touchable opacity here. We're giving a key, index, and press here, style, give it a styles dot profile, profile icon container. Let's just copy it here real quick and paste it. And now we're gonna give it flex 1. Stupid error. Okay, flex 1, align item center, justify content, flex end, flex end, and finally margin bottom 7. And yeah, now we have a beautiful Instagram screen. So let us arrange everything in order so we can just navigate through the screens. Yeah, so you enter your Instagram screen or your Instagram app, click on login. We have a small warning. Let's go and fix it real quick. In the welcome, they're talking about font size. Oh, the warning isn't there anymore. Let's see. But it talked about the font size. Are we having any problem with the font size? Nope. Or is it on the login screen? Let's see. Oh, okay, we got it. So we set the font size like a string instead of a number. So now the error should be gone. Let's see. All right, everything's working. Now if we click again on login, we see we've entered our Instagram screen. So now the next screens are pretty much very easy. For this screen is basically a search bar up here, search bar here, and some images here. For the add screen is basically an add or upload image button. For the real screen is basically an image occupying the whole screen and some icons overlaid here. And finally, this is the most interesting screen. So for the sake of practicing your CSS, I'll advise you to try to replicate these screens. Yourself. I'm going to add the code in the description. So at any moment, you can always check out the code and correct it yourself. But the purpose of this tutorial is mainly to practice styling and not to practice all the functionalities. But if you want to see me finishing this app and implementing all the functionalities, let me know in the comment section. But one of the most important things about building mobile apps is knowing how to properly style them. And sometimes CSS can always be challenging and styling can be challenging. So having a good old practice like this is very beneficial. So let me show you what the final app is supposed to look like. So this is how the final app is supposed to look like. You have the search. As you can see, it's really easy. You have the search bar up here and you have a duplicate of all these images. You can go ahead and add several other images if you like. But basically, in order to do this, I just set an array of how many images this is 12, and I set the width of the images to be this exact size you see, so you can take in the full screen. For this, it's just very easy. You add an upload image. You can either put a position absolute and then set it to the exact center of the screen, or you can justify everything to the center, align items to the center, and give it a top of maybe 100 or something. And then you have the reels. For these reels, you're going to have to use Z index in order to put this image behind all the other icons. And yeah, for this one, you have to put it inside a single view. Then you put the icons inside a view and the number inside of another view, and add in the icon, and add the icon, and below the icon you add the number, and do the same thing for all these other ones. And this one is going to be the most interesting part. You start by adding the username here, or you add a text here, then you add the icon, you put everything in a view, and you put flex direction row. Then you give it a justify content. You can give it, I think space between is going to work. Then below this, you do the same thing, but make sure to put this image here in its own individual view. So this is going to be a very good practice for you to practice styling apps in React Native. And then if you want me to continue this tutorial and make it like a full stack course, let me know in the comment section. The link to the source code of this app is going to be found in the description. I'll upload it to GitHub, and I'm going to upload it to OraLearn too. If you don't know what OraLearn is, it's a platform where you can learn how to code and eventually learn anything. So thank you for watching this video. If you've liked it, leave a like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.